Welcome to the Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell, and today we are reviewing WandaVision episode 6, season 1. Boy, was that a good episode. There is so much to unpack. It was so dense an episode. It just threw away all my assumptions that I had made last episode. I really don't know what's going on right now. I mean, there's a number of things that are happening. There's a number of theories you can take on the show right now, and I don't think anybody's going to be totally right in the end. God, I just love the writing, though. It's some of the best writing I've seen in a long time. But let's start out with the tribute to sitcom. This episode it looked like it was Malcolm in the Middle, which is weird because that would mean they totally skipped over the 90s sitcoms. When I think of 90s sitcoms, I think of Seinfeld, I think of Friends. There's no family-oriented sitcoms in the 90s that I can remember. So I think that's why they had to skip ahead of Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm in the Middle didn't come out till the year 2000. So they completely skipped over the 90s. One other indication that they indeed skipped over the 90s was you can see two movies on the marquee of the theater that Wanda's walking past. On the marquee it says The Incredibles and The Parent Trap. Now, but here's the thing. The Parent Trap came out in 1998. The Incredibles came out in 2004. So I was like, I'm not sure what that means. So Malcolm in the Middle, once again, came out in 2000. So that's within the time period. Incredible is in that time period, but Parent Trap seems to be outside the time period. Now, a lot of movie theaters run old movies, so maybe it's just that. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe it's just an approximation of reality, not really reality that we're seeing here, of course. I mean, it is. So it didn't upset me too much or anything. It seems to me that Disney is just flexing their property muscle, so to speak, because they have so many properties. I didn't even look at The Parent Trap, but I'm sure it's a Disney property. It has to be. It kind of reminded me of that scene in Civil War when Spider-Man mentions Empire Strikes Back. It's just Disney flexing their muscles and showing, hey, look, we own all this stuff. So stay with us. And on a related note, their subscriber numbers are like over 90 million for Disney Plus now. So it's doing very well. So let's go through the episode a little bit, and I'll mention Easter eggs when I can. First one was the fact that Tommy and Billy, Wanda's twins, are exhibiting powers in this episode, and they're not hiding the powers. It remains to be seen whether they're going to go the way of the comic book and the kids are going to turn out to be magical constructs. In the comic books, it gets a little darker because Wanda actually gives each of her sons a soul. She takes the life essence from a demon to do it, though. So that seems a little bit too dark. I don't think they're going to go that way ultimately. But there is some indication that they are constructs, which explains why Wanda was able to age them up in the last episode. So, but yes, the twins are Speed and Wiccan are their comic book names, and they are showing signs that their powers are coming out, and as well as Quicksilver is being allowed to show his powers. I guess he was able to do that in this town, where previously Wanda, would hide her powers and Vision as well. But I think because Quicksilver is able to move around so fast, that's maybe why she allows him to show his powers. So I thought that was interesting. And also, of course, there's that Easter egg where Wanda dressed up in her comic appropriate costume. I like how they explain it away as she says she's a Sokovian fortune teller, and Vision is wearing a wrestler's outfit from Mexico. So I got a chuckle out of that, and they're able to weave that into the story somehow. And I love the way Elizabeth Olsen looks in that costume. I got to get that from my wife. My God, she looks so great in that. But let me move on. I could talk at length about how she looked in that costume. But let's go back to what's happening outside the hexagon with Sword. I like the dynamic happening between Monica Rambeau and the director Hayward. The director Hayward wants Wanda eliminated. And I can even sympathize with his reasoning. He tells Monica that she doesn't know what it was like during the blimp, because she got blipped out of existence, but she doesn't understand the pain that people felt because the blip. You know, you gotta empathize with what people who didn't get blimped out were feeling, and it had to be a lot of dread, right? So the fact that he is acting on his fear of the superpowered felt very real to me. So I like that part. I like the fact that they're getting put out of the camp, and they like kind of rebel, Monica and Kate Denning and Randall Park. I love all that sequence. I love the fact that they revealed that Monica's cellular structure has been changed. So yes, she is going to have powers at some point. I like that they're not even beating around the bush about that. That is actually going to happen. And I think it's going to happen during some kind of confrontation with Wanda. It'd be really cool if she has powers like Captain Marvel, and they're like going to battle, and she's just like, boom, no, you're not going to do this to me again. I can handle you now. Because they both have powers that emanated from this Mind Stone. In fact, they even mentioned Carol Danvers, Hayward, the director, does, when he's talking to Monica, telling her that she has sympathies for superheroes. And, you know, this goes back to the Sokovia Accords, where superheroes were kind of reined in. So I like that they're bringing all these elements from the other movies and stuff into the story. It makes for a more immersive universe. Okay, so there was also something happening with Vision. Vision kind of lying to Wanda about what he was going to do Halloween night. Says he's going to be on patrol, but he's actually investigating the edge of town. He wants to see the boundaries of the town. He's suspicious. We see the people at the edge of the town not really moving all that much. It's almost like Wanda's power has some limits, or possibly she has some kind of hex at the boundaries of the hexagon that limits people from doing anything because she doesn't want them escaping. That's what I got from the fact that Agnes looks like she was looking for a way to escape. She got to the edge of the barrier and she just stopped. She was confounded. She was lost. So it's one of those two possibilities. My first one I mentioned was a little bit less likely, because if her powers don't work at the edge of the barrier, that means people would have you try to escape, like Vision does eventually in the episode. And we see that Vision cannot leave. In fact, the force is so strong it starts tearing out his vibranium, and we know how indestructible vibranium is. So I like that. Also, there's a question about Quicksilver. I assume that he was brought from the multiverse. And I like the fact that Wanda doesn't even know why he looks different from her real brother. She's kind of confounded. I thought the obvious answer was, yes, she plucked him out the multiverse. But then there was that shot where she sees him as dead. And he actually tells her, I remember being shot and dying, and then you calling me. So he actually is the brother that died, and that he was called back from the dead by her. So I'm not sure what to think about Quicksilver now. And Wanda doesn't even remember making the barrier, creating this whole simulation. She doesn't remember how it happened. So that tells me that perhaps, just perhaps, maybe she's being manipulated by outside force. So that remains to be seen. I thought about this in the last episode. When she was doing all this stuff and came out the barrier and she was threatening Sword, I wondered how Marvel was going to get over the fact that it seemed like Wanda was being set up as a villain. How were they going to deal with that? And that doesn't seem like something that they would want to do with an Avenger. And it looks like now that maybe, yes, there is an outside force. There is some kind of villain at play. And that would, redeem Wanda in the end if that is indeed what they're going for. But I love this episode. I'm going to be recapping all the rest of the episodes because it just keeps getting better and better. And I just think people are going to be interested. It's the hottest thing on the internet. You can see that it's trending on Twitter every time an episode comes out. Every site is reviewing it. It's just a phenomenal show. And I can't wait to see what happens next week. But that's about it. I think that's about all I can remember about the episode. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Give me a like or a dislike, whatever. And ring that bell if you're already subscribers so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.